Devin here with Oelo Lighting, and today I'm going to show you how to install your very own Oelo lights for our metal systems. Hanging and wiring the control box. The control unit provides 6 signal outputs, or zones, and power for up to 300 lights. In it, you will find a sticker for you to write down how many lights each zone has, and the necessary components for mounting the control unit. The control unit can be hung indoors or outdoors, but should be placed near an outlet and near the start of your lights. Screw the box to the wall using the provided mounting screws. Here, we only use 2, but a third can be used if necessary. If the control unit is indoors, you will need to drill a hole for the 3-core wire to pass through. Do this near the start of your lights. Feed the 3-core wire to your control box, drilling holes and securing the wire as you go. Insert the 3-core wire through the large strain relief. Make sure there's around 6 inches of wire inside the control box. Separate the 3-core wires and strip back each wire about a half an inch. These wires are your ground, signal, and plus VCC. Next, connect the 3-core wires to the control box. Insert the plus VCC wire or positive wire into the red output conductor and snap it closed. Insert the ground wire into the black output conductor and snap it closed. Hold off on wiring the signal wire to the control board. We will test the system at the end of the installation before connecting the wire. Inserting the light strand. To insert the light into the metal cover, match the notches up on the light and cover. Insert and then rotate the light for a secure lock. On the light strand, locate the small black arrow. This arrow must be wired pointing away from the control unit. Wiring and hanging the lighting components. Cut down the 3-core wire just enough for it to reach the metal cover. Separate the 3-core wires and strip back each wire about a half an inch. Connect the first metal cover light strand and the 3-core wire. Use a small pink butt connector and connect it to the S signal wire. Crimp down the metal part of the butt connector, making a strong physical connection with the wire. Do the same thing with ground and plus VCC wire, but using a blue butt connector. Connect these 3 wires to the 3-core wire and then crimp them together. Make sure the channel is being supported while wiring. Straining the wires can lead to a connection issue. Use a butane torch to shrink the butt connectors, distributing the heat evenly. Be careful not to burn the heat shrink. Start with low heat for best results. Stop when the heat shrink has fully covered the wire. Wrap the butt connector with electrical tape for an extra layer of protection. Then, screw the metal cover to the underside of the soffit by using the provided screws. Once the run reaches a corner or transition, the covers can be cut. Cutting the cover is different for each house. If you are installing an outward-facing system, corners will be cut at a top-facing angle, while peaks will be cut at a front-facing angle. If you are installing a downward-facing system, corners will be cut at a front-facing angle, while peaks will be cut at a top-facing angle. Figure out what type of cut you need to make and measure the distance from the last cover. Mark the angle the cut needs to be. We use a Milwaukee saw and a ferrous metal blade to cut our metal sections. Then, insert the next section of lights and screw the cut cover to the soffit. Repeat these steps until you need to wire together more lights. Connect light strands together by matching the ground, S, and plus VCC wires. Use a butane torch to shrink the butt connectors, distributing the heat evenly. Stop when the heat shrink has fully covered the wire. Wrap the butt connector with electrical tape for an extra layer of protection. To connect distant strands of lights, use the remaining 3-core wire between the light strands. Additionally, you can route the wire behind the fascia for a concealed look. Again, make sure that the wires match with ground to ground, S to S, and plus VCC to plus VCC. Use a butane torch to shrink the butt connectors, distributing the heat evenly. Stop when the heat shrink has fully covered the wire. Wrap the butt connector with electrical tape for an extra layer of protection. Finishing touches. Waterproof the end of the system by crimping on butt connectors. Heating them up, pinching them closed with pliers, and then wrapping them with electrical tape. Next, use the provided metal end cap to complete the system. Attach the end cap to the soffit, where your last cover will be. And then mount the cover over the end cap, sealing off the end of the cover. Once you have finished hanging the channels and wiring the light strands, we will test the system. Again, hold off on connecting the signal wire to the control board. Plug the power in and watch the lights outside. If the lights do not illuminate at all, investigate for a miswire. Start at the control box and work your way down the light strand. If the lights flash, inspect the wires for a possible short, like a punctured or severed wire. If the lights are blue but stop working at a certain section, inspect that area for a miswire. If the lights remain a steady and constant blue, you're good to go. Unplug the control box and wire the signal wire. Press down firmly on the button labeled number 1 on the main board, insert the wire, and release the button. Now you can plug the control box back in and watch the main board. 2 lights will turn on the main control board. The red light indicates that it is receiving power, and the blue light indicates that it is attempting to connect to Wi-Fi and is broadcasting an Oelo Wi-Fi network. So now, we're free to move on to the Oelo Evolution app manual and get your system all set up. To set up your Oelo Evolution app, download and open the app, create an account if needed, and then select the Find My Controller. You will then be prompted to choose your Wi-Fi network and enter the network's password. Once the controller is connected to your network, enter a name for your controller. Next, you will configure your individual light strands or zones. Here, you enable, name, and input the number of LEDs that each separate light strand contains. Most homes will have one linear system or zone, but the controller can support up to 6 separate outputs. Now is a good time to write down how many LEDs each zone has. Once you have finished updating your zones, tap the Update Controller button. The controller will save your changes and reboot. Once that is complete, you will now have a working Oelo system. Feel free to test out your lights and create some amazing patterns.